Yo, check this out. This is Chuck D. And keep it locked. You are tuned into the library. The lies are buried with Tim Einico. Right here, right now, rapstation.com.
Known to many of us as Play from the rap and acting duo Kid and Play, Christopher Play Martin continues to wear many hats. He now serves as executive producer of brandnews.com, where he oversees mass communication major students from different colleges and universities, and has just completed his latest documentary titled Can Hip Hop Go to School? Christopher Play Martin, welcome to the library with Tim Einico on rapstation.com.
Thank you, and hello to you and all your listeners.
Oh, great. Thank you. First off, can you tell us a little bit about brandnews.com?
Well, what Brand News is really was birthed out of a frustration that I still am frustrated with what the powers that be serves as news or call it news. And no offense against my Asian brothers and sisters, but we used to have this cliche or this thing about, Chinese food that after you eat it and you're full, about an hour later you're hungry again. And that's the way I feel about news that's being served. It's really gossip. It's really opinions. It's really mess. And when you really think about what you've been told or what you've been informed or advised or anything to be educated by, there's really nothing there. You just know who's sleeping with so-and-so and who's doing this and who's doing that, but there's really nothing to inform you to make wise decisions when you walk out the front door dealing with, what's going on out there in the world. So after indicting the powers that be, I was then shortly convicted in regards to why don't I do something about it. And the idea was birthed to create a news, realizing at the time that hip-hop was mature now, old enough to be more accountable and responsible, especially since we're providing jobs and all kinds of great things like that. If hip-hop was a person, it's a grown adult right now, and we are accountable. So to take the influence, the resources that we have, and to inject it into technology, inject it into science, politics, finances, still sports, still entertainment, but all the things that the news is supposed to be about, health, inspiration, things that are uplifting to encourage people to move forward and not necessarily buy into or start acting like fools or living ratchet. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's about. And who else better to work with than the future? And the future are students and like-minded people and the young at heart. So that's what we do. We go out of our way to find positive news and support it and promote it. And at the same time, we're not dealing with issues or dealing with the world with rose-colored glasses on. We know how to tell people about some of the unfortunate things that are going on, but in a very positive aspect, or putting a spin on it where we can learn from the mistakes of others rather than throw stones and judge other people. I
was wondering, is it hard to, you mentioned kind of using hip hop as to drive a positive force. Is it hard to counterbalance that, or just fight against so much of the quote unquote negativity that's on our television screens or on the YouTube video?
Yeah, you would think it would be. I was concerned, would there be enough content? And there is. It's just got to be searched for, even in regards to hip-hop artists and individuals in the culture. Most do have some things that a lot of people aren't aware of in regards to foundations, or aware of things they've done for people that weren't promoted in the media. Even dealing with athletes that I know, high-profile athletes. Usually every one of them have a foundation. You just don't hear about that. Same thing with R&B recording artists, rap artists, whatever the case may be. So it's out there. It just has to be purposely looked for.
And as we mentioned at the top, you just completed your fourth documentary titled "Can Hip Hop Go to School?", which features many hip hop pioneers and icons such as Grandmaster Caz, Grand Wizard Theodore, Ninth Wonder, Premier, Pete Rock, Money Love, Chuck D, Slick Rick, and the list goes on and on. Can you just give the listeners a sense of kind of what the documentary is about, and what goal, now that the project is complete, what goal were you hoping to achieve, and did you achieve that goal?
But really, it's a freebie. Like CNN and Fox News and MSNBC, they do occasional specials like CNN Presents. So this is Brand News Presents, a Christopher Martin documentary and a video journal. I've been in the higher learning community, educating from Miles College to North Carolina Central University to Florida A&M universities, and spoke at so many colleges of esteem close to over 15 years now. So I was inspired to always have a camera with me, usually a video camera. Everybody knows me, so usually have a video camera with me. And the question just evolved organically. Can hip-hop go to school? It was just interesting to hear some of the behind the scenes, or again, what we don't know about a lot of high profile individuals, about how they feel about school, how they feel about education, and how this played a part in their life. So in my travels, which I do quite a bit, and still performing with my dear friend, the KID, fellow with the high top fade, it put me in positions to have conversations with individuals that most, sometimes can't, or have those kind of intimate kind of conversations. And then at the same time, being able to video presentations, lectures, things I've been involved with as well as regular classes as well. So basically, what I'm doing is asking the audience to join me to look at hip hop as though it's an actual person. And if anybody's familiar with the story in the Bible of the prodigal son, is how he left home and he came back. In this case, hip hop being a son or a daughter that was pretty much booted out of a home, and in this case, the school, because of the fiscal crisis in New York in the 70s, and it went away to fend for its on its own and ended up doing very well. Can it return back to the school, bring the fortunes and the influence that it has, and help save the schools and the community that's in trouble by being a recruitment tool, by coming and giving cautionary tales of how to better handle your money, how you can probably be a lawyer if you want to, or an accountant, or even a carpenter in regards to set building, costume designing. It provides trades and jobs and careers and things of that nature, even technology, inventing apps and all of that good stuff in regards to music or outside of music. So that's what it's really about, is the fact that me being on this journey, asking this question and hearing some very interesting, passionate answers and things of that nature. And it involves performances as well, as, with me being able to have the access I have to stage with, performances with Rakim and Big Daddy Kane and Arrested Development, and the list goes on. I couldn't put everything and everybody that I have on film, and that's why it's taken as long to do, because there was a lot of tough decisions to make.
Right.
But it's a nice, healthy piece that I hope it helps raise the question, and maybe can be a first cousin to the documentary Looking for Superman.
Oh, from the preview, it seems like the trailer, it seems like there's a lot of focus on the old school versus the new school. Can you tell us, the listener, what's the difference between the old school and today's hip hop? Also, is there lessons that that the documentary shows from the new school, or is it really just kind of focusing more on the old school?
Well, I mean, think about it. I'm not trying to say one is better than the other, but let's be honest about it. Dealing with more of the new school than the old school is almost like having a kid teach college. What the old school brings is life lessons. Don't make the same mistake I did. We didn't have, and even those before me, there was no manual, there was no textbook. History books and Bible, everything included, is based off of historical or events and adventures of individuals, and they're sharing with you, the do's and the don'ts. So that's what this is about. So yes, there is some. We have Trey songs in it. We have B.O.B. We have Jim Jones. We have people speaking as well. But it would, when you're dealing with your George Washingtons and your Abraham Lincolns in this culture, that's who you want to speak with. It's, to me, I love having the opportunity to sit down with an older head, not just in hip hop, but just in life, period, and just talk to me about what they've done, what they've seen, and what not to do. So, and that's what I normally tell people, even with my class. I might not be able to tell you what to do, but I can show enough to be able to tell you what not to do. So it's not about one being better than the other. It's just who else is a better teacher than someone who has been around a lot longer.
DMC from Run DMC talks in one of the clips. He talks about the lack of balance in hip hop today. Just for our listeners, can you kind of expand on what he was saying? And I was curious: is bringing hip hop back into schools, is that a way of countering or making it more balanced? And is that the only thing to do?
Well, I mean, when people were asking me the question that, Nas had ignited was, is hip-hop dead? I said, well, I wouldn't say it's dead, but I would say it's on life support. I would say that, it's comatose at the moment because of the repetition. I've lived long enough to remember that when you listen to the radio, Heavy D and the Boys would be going off and Public Enemy would be coming on right behind them. And after Public Enemy, maybe some Arrested Development, maybe some Houdini. There was diversity. There was and that's another word for balance in regards to the fact that there's more to this than just, like even DMC said, you got the drug dealer that's into hip-hop and loves hip-hop, but you have a mechanic and a banker and a doctor, too, that is. Like just the other day, I was with Florida House of Representatives, House Speaker Will Weatherford. And this guy's passion for hip-hop was phenomenal. He's telling me stories about him and his 6 brothers and how much they love hip-hop and just, wow, So it's like it's diversity. It's being able to show, and the reason why I was bringing him up is he's a senator. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, Whitewood is that, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't question his passion. I didn't question his love for it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's diversity. It's just not about the drug kid and the relationship with illegal substances. There's other people that are good, as good, in some cases better, that they're florists, you know what I'm saying, or messengers or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So that's the balance in it. But there's more to it than just the side that gets all the attention.
There's 2 questions in this. It's what has the biggest obstacle been to getting hip hop back in schools? But then also, once it's in schools, from a student, I mean, what has been the biggest obstacle? Have you guys ran into, like, the student? Has he or she come in and totally thought that hip hop was one thing, and then you guys really and whoever
all the time, and that's like the biggest compliment, because people, off the bat think it's a class that teaches you how to rap or how to be on the turntables, and that's a small piece of it. It's a nice piece of it, but it's a small piece of it. So when we get into the social and the spirit of it, and the social situations of where some things come from, when we get into all breaking down the dynamics, like my favorite, which I think is the greatest rap record ever made that I love, when we speak on, is the Message by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. It's a rap song. I like what KRS said. It was the first rap song, but look what it brought to the masses. Look how it exposed so much, and it came out, which a lot of people forget, at a time where it was mostly party rap. So here comes something that really sobered everyone, and it told the truth. When you look at Kool Moe Dee's Go See the Doctor, it was a dope beat. People partied to it, but it was about, social diseases, AIDS, and, all that stuff. So, those things work. The challenge has been time, people getting it. Some people, just like how R&B at one time wasn't ready to embrace hip-hop until it got in trouble. And then, now you started hearing rappers featured on R&B tracks with R&B artists, but same thing here. It's like, people that just don't know or want to know that are gatekeepers from time to time create a hindrance. But once they, and there've been time where those who have felt very strong about it, and they just sat in on the class. I don't know what the reason was, and they're probably coming there to get proof that it was what they thought it was about, and later after class pretty much apologized that they had no idea, how deep we went and how deep we go.
Christopher, one of the what a young man in the documentary says about the workshop that, quote, it opens people's eyes to what hip hop used to be and what it's becoming. So what do you see hip hop becoming?
To be honest with you, I don't know. And that's what kind of makes it exciting. Like who ever knew, you know what I'm saying? When, as it evolved from decade to decade, Cash and all of them would be forthcoming. They had no idea. I had no idea. The only reason why I was into hip-hop was because I saw how the women was reacting to it, and I wanted to get with them. And look what that turned into. All I wanted was a single. I didn't want an album. I just wanted a single. I felt if I had a single, I'd be able to do the rest. I could take it from there. I had no idea it was going to turn into everything that it has turned into, and for me to have the position in this. I am a little concerned as we travel abroad and influenced by music and things that are happening, in other places, and maybe it's just me, being guilty like parents or older people are, where you're accustomed or you're not really to embrace anything new. But, I liked what was coming from, did come from New York in your, 80s and 90s and all of that. So the whole technical thing and everything, not really my thing. I get it, and there's occasional stuff that gets my attention, but I like I like where it was homegrown.
And I want to kind of go into kind of your career. There's one thing about you and Kid. You had this I think this great lyrical chemistry, and a kind of a ability just to play off of each other really well. Kind of it reminds me of the Treacherous 3. Is that something?
Wow, thank you.
Is that something that that's organic? Did you have to work on, or is it something that you have? If you don't have it, you might as well not be a group anymore. Or
no, very, very organic. Kid and I, we weren't part of a casting call, and two people. Anybody put us two together. We grew up pretty much literally together, literally around the corner from each other. Still to this day, we're able to finish each other's thoughts and sentences if we're on a business call and for whatever reason one of our phones, get disconnected or the battery goes out. I know the Kid knows, what I will say and what I will probably think, and same thing vice versa. If one of those rare times we don't, we'll say, got to get back to you after I speak to, partner.
Right.
But no, and I think that just has a lot to do with the influence of what we were listening to a lot and admiring. That's a great compliment when you say the Treacherous 3, L.A. Sunshine and Special K. Special K, yeah. So that's awesome, but that's what was happening at the time was in regards to like Melly Mel and like the Furious Five said, making 5 MCs sound like one. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's up.
We've talked about the hip hop scene has changed so much. It's 38 years old. It's been around. Can you kind of give a listener kind of an idea of what it was like back when you guys were? I don't want to say in your prime, but
My favorite time was when I don't like using the word fan, but when it is what it is, it is what it is. And when I was a fan of hip-hop, this was pre-Kid and Play. The great thing about becoming play of Kid and Play, it got me the best seats in the house to see the people that I have been crazy about. I just was honored at a Legends 3, the devastating Tito and Team Fearless 4 gives annually. They gave their third Legends, and they honored me with Kid and I with an award. And who performed was the Fantastic Romantic 5 and the Cold Crush Brothers and Spoonie G and all of them. And Kane was there and a lot of other people. The first time I ever met Busy B, Starsky, and he's sitting right next to me the whole time, and I'm having an out-of-body experience like, oh, my God, I'm sitting next to Busy B. And he knows me because of what I've done, but I'm losing my mind. and Kane is like sitting right behind me. He and I go way back with a friend, but I know how he feels about that era. So we are like, we just reverted back to being shuddies back in the day and being able to be in. Normally you had to be careful watching these guys perform because, you know, you had the stick up kids and the gangs and all of that. But to be there and watch them do all their routines, I'm about to lose my mind, you know, like literally, you know. So that's what's up for me. And I'm still a kid at heart when I'm in those surroundings, you know. And this documentary is a labor of love. But as far as Kid and I, you know, we've had a lot. I mean, it's stuff that people will never have an opportunity to do. And I'm just saying that because I'm just recognizing how more than fortunate, blessed I've been. But a lot of that stuff, you know, I don't remember as well as I remember the times when Kid and I were you know, struggling to make it. Those were the good times, you know. But I have pictures that remind me of the pinnacle of our careers, and we still enjoy a lot of very high things today. You know, it's just amazing. I just did an interview for CNN. They're getting ready in a couple of months to introduce this documentary called Fresh Dress or Dress Fresh, whatever. It's about the influence and the relationship between hip hop and fashion. So they got wind of what I've done, you know, things I've designed as far as the Salt and Pepper, Pusher jackets, all of Kid and I stuff. I did a lot of stuff for Heavy D and his videos and all of that stuff. So that was an honor to be, you know, to want to talk to me about that, you know.
Have you ever thought, like, if you weren't in hip hop, if you weren't Kid and Play, a part of Kid and Play, what would be your alternative career?
You know, if it was based on the facts, either dead or in prison, you know, I tell people God used hip hop to save my life, because my heroes was Fat Cat. My heroes was Alpo and Nicky Bonds and Guy Fisher and Bimmy and all the thugs. You know, those were the people I looked up to. Those are who I tried to emulate. Had a couple of close calls in my life, but, you know, it was the life of a stick-up cat. I knew the real 50 Cent, all of that. I mean, those were my stars. Those were the people, because that's as far as my eye could see. That was the cars they were driving, the women they were with, jewelry, homes. That was success. Couldn't relate to the banker or the fireman or any of that kind of stuff. So hip hop, and of course we know back then it wasn't called hip hop, but, you know,
right.
God used it as to distract me and change my course. So, you know, I always drew. I drew a lot. Design, that was my passion. When nobody was around and in the privacy of my own home, I was drawing. But I didn't see it making money for me, you know.
Is there? I read that. Yeah, I was reading up that you used to draw. Now you obviously, as you said, you still draw. Is there anything like we could get like a kind of like a play graphic design book or something like that in the future, or is that?
You know, my prayer to God was to take all of my energy and my talent and help me convert it into technology. And, you know, that's where my artistic thing lies. You know, even with this movie, I've done, you know, most of the editing and the tech stuff behind it. You know, I'm really into technology, you know, where art is concerned, especially like videography, photography, a lot of special effects, things of that nature, stuff that drawing helps a lot, and to have an eye and to be able to navigate a certain way. But I still have a lot of the stuff I've done. You know, I was involved when they did the Kid and Play Marvel comic books. I still have the artwork, original artwork from that. There's you know, there's stuff that I have. You know, I was accepted and went for a brief time to the School of Art and Design, and that's how I got really introduced to more into hip hop. But you know, the first time everybody kept telling me about this song called Apache that it felt like forever for me to finally hear. Being exposed to the gear, sheepskins, Quarterfield coats, British Walkers, all of those things, mock mix, Delancey Street, the whole nine, you know. It was a very special time, you know, but yeah, I have a few things, and who knows what the future holds. But right now I'm really I'm really getting a second wind as far as technology and artistic expression through that, you know.
Right. You've had and you're continuing to have a great career, and you've obviously worked with many producers as Kid and Play. Can you give a listener kind of a sense of what it was like to work with Hurby Luv Bug? I mean, who produced not just you guys, but Salt and Pepper.
It wasn't work. You know, it was friends. And we were able to produce things out of it. You know, there wasn't a lot of drudgery. Hurby was, I wouldn't say a perfectionist, but kind of sort of like when he had his idea of what he wanted something to sound like, he wasn't taking any shorts. You know, we'd be there forever. And if it didn't get done, only because the human body couldn't take it anymore, you're coming back tomorrow to do it all over again. But, you know, it's a lot different when you're with your friends and you have the same interests. You know, let's finish this track because we're going to get together with those girls we met yesterday, or whatever the case may be. A lot of fun. We all knew what we were doing. We all knew what was, we weren't oblivious to the fortune or the once-in-a-lifetime thing that was taking place. You know, at Hurby's house, which wasn't too far from where we all lived, that's where the tour bus would pick everybody else up at. So it was exciting, you know, from Salt and Pepper to be pulling up, you know, whoever was giving them a lift and dropping them off, us as well. We shared the bus together. And it was just great. You know, we're going to stop at McDonald's before we really hit the road, you know, and the music and the laughter and snapping on each other. It was very, very, very special times. Very special times, you know.
A question I kind of ask a lot of people, just kind of get a sense of, you know, just to get a sense of what they're listening to or what they feel. But it's pretty much which 5 albums of any music genre, it could be any music genre, okay, would you have wished to have been a part of in some way, whether you were on the track, whether you were producing, even like a fly in the wall in the studio?
Well, for those who are pure hip-hop enthusiasts, they might be disappointed with my answer, but I am a big Earth, Wind & Fire fan.
Oh, nice.
And before I got introduced to the hip-hop culture, not being called hip-hop then, I was in a band. I used to play lead and rhythm guitar. Well, you know, there's a big gap between that and hip-hop, but, you know, a lot of my, you know, when I was behaving myself going to school, I was, you know, doing that. But, yeah, so later in life to actually meet them under the most interesting circumstances, and then to be asked would Kid and I rap on one of their albums, only for our record company to say no because they didn't think it was hip hop or cool. We would lose our base audience doing that. But it would be that. As far as one of my personal favorite rap records is Fear of a Black Planet. I love that album. I remember playing that like all the time when I was on tour. We've done so many tours with Public Enemy back in the days. It was ridiculous. I was really humbled and honored. So that's one that quickly comes to mind. Main Source.
Nice.
Large Professor, definitely. Tribe Called Quest. I can't really think of any of their works, an album, CD, that I don't like. I'm coming very close to calling them my favorite group in hip hop, period. But Tribe Called Quest is up there. Those are the ones that quickly come to mind. You know, quickly come to mind.
What's the best way for?
Oh, Brand Nubian too, by the way. Brand Nubian.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. What's the best way for listeners to kind of keep up to date with the Can Hip Hop Go to School documentary?
Well, like I said, there'll be a website that's in the making now, but the best way is brandnews.com. Yeah.
Christopher Play Martin, thanks so much for joining me on The Library with Tim Einenkel on Rap Station.
Thank you. You have a great day.
Hit it.